So if you're a hairstylist who takes their career really seriously and you've always wondered, like, how do you become a blonding specialist or a folia specialist or a lived-in specialist? You may have find yourself on Instagram looking at a bunch of videos and inspiration and trying to find educational content, or even here on YouTube, and you notice that there's a lot of visuals of pulling foils. And maybe you wondered to yourself, well, is there actually a purpose to this, or is this just something that looks really mesmerizing that clients like to look at? So in this video, I want to explain to you the very important reason why you want to be doing this if you want to classify yourself as a blonding specialist and not just somebody who offers blondes. Now, why would you want to differentiate yourself that way? Well, most clients who really want a specific desired end result, like beautiful blonding, they're gonna want to go to somebody who specializes in doing that, who lives and breathes blonding, who is extremely customized and understands them so well. And you may not have realized this before, but the way you pull foils is actually one of the most important things that distinguishes somebody who just offers blondes and somebody who is a blonding specialist or lived-in specialist. So in this video, I'm going to teach you all of my methods for pulling foils, because it's not just about creating a mesmerizing, pretty video. It's actually about managing your time. And this will make more sense as I show you all my technique. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do this so that every client that sits in your chair leaves saying, oh my gosh, nobody else is ever allowed to touch my hair again. And before we start, I wanted to let you know that if you want to watch the full placement video for the model that you're about to see, I actually did record that full placement video with all the formulas and everything. So if you'd like to see that, go ahead and click the card right here. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Lauren, and on this channel, I love to help hairstylists become really confident with the details of modern foil work so that they can actually charge more for the work that they are doing and start to attract higher end clients so that they can ultimately make six figures doing work that they're proud of and working a lot less. The one thing that I really want to eliminate is burnout. So if that's one of your goals for this year, make sure to hit that like button and let's get started. So the first thing that you want to think about is managing when you do each section. I base this off of density. So when I'm doing a really long service, I don't do the front first and I don't do it last. And the reason is because the hairline is very fine and processes quickly. But I also want it to be the brightest. So what I do is get most of the work done before doing the hairline, and then I finish my last 5 to 7 foils after the hairline is done. And this is so I can use the way that different parts of the head process to my advantage and try to get everything to process at the same time. So once I complete my full application, the first thing that I do is go back and check my thin sections to see how far along they are, and if they need to be pulled, I pull them out. And then I also check my thickest sections, and if they are not looking as light as my thinner sections, or it's obvious that they're going a lot slower, I'm going to reapply lightener by either mixing 10 volume or just using some leftover lightener. Leftover lightener is less fresh, so it's not going to be as strong. But this gives it just enough of a push to kind of catch up to whatever has processed a little quicker. By the way, I also recorded a foil technique video with this specific look. So if you'd like to check that out, you want to know the placement of this and how I do these foils, go ahead and click the card. It's going to be up in the top corner. Now for this service, I did not want to leave lightener on her ends for the entire processing time because she already had highlights in some of her ends and I didn't want to damage her hair. So this is really important. Clients hate when there's damage in their hair, so getting these details right is really going to differentiate you between somebody who just offers the service and somebody who specializes in it. So at this point, since we're nearing the end of the service, I go in with that same lightener and apply on the ends for the last few minutes. So this just gives it an extra bump to brighten up those ends, but it won't damage it because it's not going to be on quite as long. Sometimes it could be a little bit hard to tell if the product has actually lifted. It could look white, but then the one thing that you could do to just make sure it's lifted enough is just to scratch it off. So you saw me do that there. The next thing you'll see me do here is very important. So any hair that's been processing a while, especially hair that I did lighten on the ends, I'm going to go in and check the integrity. as it's processing. So I just do a little bit of an elasticity test, just kind of stretch it out a little bit. Make sure the hair is not stretchy. If it is stretchy, you need to take product off immediately so that it does not damage the hair. So you want to make sure that hair feels super strong. If it doesn't feel strong, just strip it off. But this is what I do throughout the entire process to make sure that the integrity of the hair is always preserved throughout the entire processing time. Now this next part is extremely fun to do and very fun to watch, but you can see here that the front processed really quickly, even though it's one of the last things I did. This is why I don't always do the front first, but once it's ready, I wipe off the product immediately, and I just use my gloves to do this. Now, I used to do this by wiping off the product with a wet towel, but then I realized that keeping the product wet, and even though the water is diluting the product, keeping it wet is allowing the lightener to continue working. So now I just wipe off the product and let it dry out quickly, because we know that lightener that is dried out is no longer working. So once I have taken out a few foils, I separate the hair that was not lightened, I push it out of the way, and then I joined all the lightened hair together. Then what I do is push all of the excess product down toward the ends. Now mind you, these are done processing, so I'm not trying to, get any more lift out of this hair, but I do like to do a little bit of an extra bump on the ends to give that customized brightness toward the ends. So what I do is just push down that product with my gloves, and this avoids me having to do a wet balayage to brighten the ends at the bowl. I know some of you watching this are probably wondering if all that back combing you see here is really difficult to get out. It's not super difficult, but it does take time, and it depends on the texture. Some people's texture is really difficult to get out, some people it's not, but you can absolutely do this safely and damage-free, and I actually have another video where I'm going to show you exactly how I do that so that you are not stressed and you are motivated to actually use back combing and teasing, because it does make such an amazing difference when it comes to blending. So I'll put that card right up at the corner if you want to check that out. Also, just a little marketing bonus tip, clients love to see visuals like this, so if you are waiting for some things to process and you've pulled some foils out, make sure to get some video footage of it. People just love to look at things like this, and it will draw attention to your Instagram and your reels and things like that. So always make sure to get a little bit of footage of your processing. So as you can see, now that I've pulled the rest of the foils out, everything is lifted to the exact same level. And this is so important for consistency. And it's because of everything that we did during that processing time, all the details and care we took to get this right. And because everything is lifted to the same level of brightness, toning becomes way less complicated and way easier, because when you're able to lift consistently, toning only becomes just a final touch in the icing on the cake, and it's not something that is going to save the look or cover up mistakes. This is the place that you want to be when you are doing your application. Toning should not be something that's just covering up mistakes. It should be something that's only enhancing it. So the way you manage your timing and pulling foils is actually just one very important step of the full foliage, lived-in blonding process. So I wanted to let you know that I did film the full process for this look right here. So if you wanted to check that out, click the video on the screen and I will see you over there. My name is Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. It's an honor to have you here, and I'll see you in the next video.